Welcome to another video on my Arduino Yun and some electronics with a fischertechnik motor and switch. Last time I added an temperature dependent resistor, NTC. NTC means negative temperature coefficient, and everything seems to work well. And I also used, instead of the serial monitor, the root, a terminal with a root command, so that I can take everything from terminal. Everything works quite well. Now the point is, what can I do more? Well, for instance, I can add another potmeter. I can add another motor, and I want to do that using another pulse width modulation frequency. So with this I still don't know which one is for which port, so that is going to be quite a challenge. What also is going to be a bit of a challenge is the wiring. I have to replace this one because I need flexible wiring to bridge the distance between the Yun and the breadboard. I also need to verify that this propeller is blowing instead of second wind. So let's first do something with this. See if everything is indeed working the way it should. Now I am waiting for, yes, exactly, the password. And it says indeed console not available, so I press enter. And now I am actually waiting for the motor to start running, which is not happening. And why is this not happening? The last time that I found out is that this transistor wasn't seated correctly. So I give some more input. Alright. Really? So why does it stop? That is so silly. But I also notice, keeping my hand behind it, that I should reverse the polarity. And that means for now that I will bring the speed down. So this would be blowing wind, and let's see if that is indeed what will happen. That is better. The question is, why isn't it running faster? Because this is quite slow, to be honest. Alright, turning completely up, and now it is blowing. So this is good to know. Then Next step, adding another potmeter circuit and adding a motor and using a pulse modulation, somewhat different. Well, first same frequency and then trying to do different frequency. So let's start with that. Now this is running. So first step is to change the wiring. Well, I have removed the flexible orange wire and inserted a preformed wire, just as preformed as these wires all are. The only thing is that this one, like all preformed wires, have a fixed length. And that means that I had to move the NTC from this lane to this one, because yeah, a fixed length is a fixed length. I managed to bend it just a little, so that should be alright. I can test it, of course, and then see if it works anyway. And the C value, yes, it is 13, so it works. Then what I already have done here is creating a new transistor circuit where the second motor is going to be. The second motor is already here, not connected yet, but that means with another challenge: how do I wire it and connect it to the Yun? Well, that will be with this wire. So for safety I will remove this motor for a moment and then insert this one. And then I have yet another challenge, because using just another wire like this is too long. What I can do instead is remove this one and use a much longer wire, such as this green one, and I think that is better. So let me remove this one. That is better. And then this one. Which one did I remove this time? None. So let's see if this one fits. Well, it's much longer anyway. So to make sure that that like this wire, it easily connects to the Yun. I want it to be as shortly connected as possible, so I think I'll take one of these very short ones, even shorter. Yes. Is that going to work? Should be. And important is, of course, that here no other connections are present. And I think it's a little bit too long, so I have to bend the wire a little bit. that's better. And then I can put in this wire, and that means that I can do it just like this. And to test it, I will have to program this wire and see if this LED is going to burn, and then I know that one fits. So let's do that. So what I will have to do now is something I apparently did before. No, I actually haven't. The new orange wire is in port 3. So I go up and I see that pin 3 is already right. I used it for a reference wire. So it is already giving output. The question is now, which output does it give? Let me check my code again. Where is output, analog output pin 3? Or did I remove it for some reason? That's a very good question. Analog output pin 3. Alright, then I say find. Analog output pin 3. Find. Yeah, I know that's there. Find. Nowhere. I removed it from the code. Alright. No problem. I'll insert it. Yes, that means I don't have that sensor value yet, nor do I have the potmeter value yet, but it's console available. So if console connected, then, and I'll just put it in here, and that will be analog right, analog out pin 3, and output pin 2 is 0. So I will say, alright, let's take for now output value 1, which is, I think, the potmeter. So output value 1 for now. Let's see how this ends up. Will the LED burn, yes or no? And of course the password again. Updating. Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for what? Right, let's put the motor in again. Yes, it broke connection. So there's one, and yes, LED is burning. So that part of the circuit is working nicely. That means that I can also connect the motor. And whether that will be like this or this, it doesn't matter, not really. But that's the first step. And this already was working because of the settings on the pot meter. So that's no problem, no surprise either. So let's go one step beyond. I improvised two wires, like I improvised the wire right here. And these wires are supposed to connect to this motor. So let's try and do something. So from the output of this transistor, it should be wiring this motor here. And then from the power, the mains, it should wire, if the connector chooses to stay connected, but this is quite a thin wire. As this one proves now as well. Okay, this isn't going to be easy. Will it work? Will it work anyway? So far, it doesn't seem to work, unfortunately. So, I guess I'll have to find something else, which is probably the port, because now I'm getting to the point where I have to ask and wonder, this part, which port does it control? Because now I am on port 3, analog port 3. Is it the same? Is it something different? I have no idea. What I can also do is measure the voltage. If the voltage is quite okay, then I should not be too much worried, but that is to be found out. So let's take a multimeter and check it. Yeah, let's do that. So multimeter present. So let's first measure this wire. Ouch. Yeah, it's a matter of wiring. If you look at how the propeller responds, it actually does work. And quite nicely. So improvisation in wiring shows that it actually does work. And most of all, if all the wiring stays where it should be. Then again, that is the problem with really thin wires. So let me remove this one for a moment. Sticking this one in again. And there you go. So, 2 motors running. However, remaining 1 voltmeter to be added, but also remaining a frequency to be measured. Because do these motors run on exactly the same frequency? That is what I want to know. And moreover, considering this yellow selected piece of code, which does create the pulse width modulation, which is which? If I change one of, if I change this according to this or this, if I change this value or this value or this value, what will be the difference? That is a very big question. So what shall I do first? Yes, first check on that. That's a very good idea. So change one multimeter for the other one, which is set to frequency, and then measuring right here. It says right here 60 Hertz, 70 Hertz. And measuring on the other side right here, it doesn't say anything. It doesn't say anything here. It doesn't say anything here. Well, maybe 10 Hertz, 20 Hertz. So how does that make up? Once again, yeah, there's no this is 10 to 20 Hertz. And measuring this again, a little bit changing, but about 60 Hertz. So which is which? The code is now exactly the same for all three timers, but I have no clue. Something to check out once again. Yeah, let me check out and find out, hopefully. I could not find any more info than I already have on pulse modulation. But as you can see here, this is timer 0, timer 3 and timer 4. There are no errors when I compile it, so these are working. The only thing that I can do is change these values and then see whatever happens with the frequency. So these commands will no longer apply. Well, one of them will change, and now of course I measured for this new motor here, and the frequency was about 60 Hz, which is like anything here, but since they are all written at 60 Hz, I am going to change one thing and see whatever happens. So let's just do that and make it 0, 1. Will that make a difference? No idea. I'll just see whatever happens. Well, that's right. So I have to relog in. Right. Giving it some input. Well, the new motor is starting right away. So I am going to measure a frequency, which I do right here. And oh, that has changed. That is going 1 kilohertz. That is one big change. I didn't expect that to happen. So let's bring it back, this one to 11 to 1 see if it comes back to 60, and then I know that that one is 4.3. Right. Once again, log in. There we go. And some input. And what are we doing here? Alright. This time it needs some manual assistance. But the frequency is about 1 kilohertz. I didn't expect this to happen. What happened to the 60 Hz? What has happened to the 60 Hz? I don't know. So apparently my information is not entirely correct. Anyway, that is it for now. Thank you for watching. What did I do? Well, not too much, except checking out the first motor, checking out the wiring, replacing a bit, and most importantly adding this circuit, checking this LED, which fortunately works, putting some more wires, reusing port 3 right here. Yeah, I should be using this without my hand image. So reusing this wire to keep this wire working, and most important, well, improvising wires to get this motor working, and of course adjusting the code with here analog out pin 3. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube. You can please also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Please make a donation to keep my blog and website going. More information also about my other projects on my website, which you can find in front at the start of the video and under this video. And this is certainly going to be continued. Bye bye.